Oh my god, okay, we're live.
We're live.
We are live. Hello everyone and welcome to our Facebook Live. I'm sorry that we made it a bit earlier, but basically I'm going out tonight and so I was being a little bit selfish and I want more time to get ready.
Selfish, she's celebrating.
So I'm currently in my pyjamas, as you can see, but who says you can't do a Facebook Live in your pyjamas? Anyway.
Exactly, and before we start, how amazing is this girl? And I hope you've all got her book out today.
How exciting, how exciting. Thank you all so much for your lovely messages as well. Like literally, I am on cloud nine today. I feel like I've been walking on a cloud. So yeah, it's amazing and thank you so much. I'm really excited and I'm definitely going to celebrate and let my hair down tonight. But not without filling you guys in on some of our most hated fitness and nutrition myths that we want to bust before the January period, when every marketing guru will come out of the woodwork and try and tell you that detox teas and juice diets and hours of cardio are going to be the only way to get you in shape after a Christmas. Exactly. So we've both picked our top 5, so top 5 from Ree and top 5 from me, and both of us are going to basically say our top 5 myths that we want to dispel. Some of them might be fairly obvious, yes, but we're kind of trying to generalize the topic and we're not going to go too specific today.
Yes.
But I hope that all of this helps you. If you've got any questions, be sure to pop them down below. We're going to keep it nice and short and sweet because my dinner's in the oven.
I can smell it and it smells really good.
so we're going to keep it nice and short and sweet and as much time as it takes to cook some chicken thighs. And yeah, I hope this helps and be sure to tune in for some more videos like this from me and Ree come January. But anyway, here we go. So I'm going to hand over to I'm going to hand over to Ree. You're going to start. So we both picked our top 5 and Rhiannon is going to start off with her number 1.
I am. So my number 1, guys, I was going to go into something else, but I think juicing is actually something I probably should cover.
She's changed it off the cuff.
I've changed it off the cuff. So this is going down here. The new year comes and everyone tries to jump on board some kind of cleanse program. Now the problem is when you embark upon a juicing diet, you're not getting any protein, you're missing out on the macronutrients in your diet, and also you're not actually losing weight. I'm going to throw that out there straight away. So what you're actually doing is stripping the glycogen from your body, which is basically carbohydrate molecules that are stored all around the muscles in your body. That's what makes you heavy.
It's our main source of energy, yeah. So glycogen is our body's main source of energy, and it's derived from the carbohydrates that we eat.
Yes, because to every carb you have water, and that's what we need. So you basically lose water weight when you go upon a juicing diet, and the problem is it's not going to keep you full. It's not going to make you satisfied. You're going to feel a bit moody, and then you eat again and you put it all back on when you jump on the scale. So my top tip number 1 is going to be avoid a kind of juice program and try and go for getting back into balanced, healthy meals. Now this may sound cliche, but it's actually really hard after a period where you've been indulging or there's lots of sugar in your system because you've got receptors in your brain that tell you you need more. It's actually quite a challenge just to go back to breakfast, lunch and dinner and have healthy, balanced meals. So my top tip is avoid the juice cleanses and go back to your 3 meals a day and some snacks.
And also, it's worth saying as well, that's actually a really expensive way of doing things. Like, it's incredibly expensive. Some of the prices that I've seen on some of these juice diets and juice cleanses and stuff, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You know, if you buy and make all your meals from scratch, you know, you will be saving a hell of a lot of money, and you'll be eating nutritious food that you've made from scratch that's not got any rubbish piled in there.
And it's satisfying. Psychologically, you're not just drinking a juice, you're getting to eat something tasty, which is actually going to help with your weight loss goals if that's what you are looking at.
Exactly. Okay, so
over to Alice.
On to my first fitness myth that I want to bust. So I think as the Christmas period comes to an end, we're all feeling, you know, we want to get back into our training and we want to kind of get out of the starting blocks like at 100 million miles an hour. I don't think 100 miles an hour.
100 million or
100 million at 100 miles an hour. The problem with this is that I think there becomes the myth that the more training the better. So because you've had a kind of maybe slightly more indulgent period over Christmas, you then suddenly want to go full pelt with your training and actually, you know, possibly overdo it. In my experience, and I think, you know, as a PT, quantity of training doesn't necessarily equate to quality. And that means that, you know, there's a lot of reasons why I would say, you know, don't be going hell for leather and thinking that training twice a day or going to the gym every single day is beneficial just because you're going. Look at the quality of your workouts, look at the quality of your training, and then perhaps assess how many times a week you need to be training. Yes, more training is going to inevitably increase your caloric burn. That's what, you know, that's why you're probably doing it. However, you need to look at the other aspects that come from overtraining. So things like increased hunger, an increase in fatigue, the quality of your workouts, no matter how many you're doing, is then going to have to suffer to some extent because you're pushing your body to the limits.
And feeling stressed.
And raised cortisol levels, increased hunger. So you're probably going to be eating more to sustain these kind of workouts that you're doing or this training program that you've thrown yourself into, and probably then therefore not creating that calorie deficit that you need to perhaps lose that little bit of body fat, which can actually be achieved by good quality, maybe less workouts, but of good quality work, allowing the body to rest and having really intense training within those sessions. I think, you know, we always sometimes do need to simplify it down and look at that calories in versus calories out to a certain extent.
So I was asking Alice, you know, how many times should I go to the gym after Christmas? How many times should we be in there? But you got it right, quality over quantity.
Yeah, so, you know, generally I would say something between, depending on your schedule, depending on your lifestyle and your body, looking at maybe 4 times a week to 5 times perhaps is fine. But any more than that, I would say, you know, if you're training twice a day, or if you're constantly, you know, if you're not recovering, I think it's always really good to look at your recovery. Yes. So are you recovering well? Are you able to wake up the next day and be able to then train perhaps a slightly different body part, but not feel so sore that you can't actually, you know, even get out of bed? And that's what I would generally gauge it off. Yeah. So looking at your recovery, looking at the quality of your workouts, and not necessarily just going to the gym and trying to go hell for leather just because, you know, you've had an indulgent period. Look at it in a long-term, sustainable way instead of just that kind of short-term goal.
Perfect.
Cool.
Sounds good to me. So I'm not going to have to go every day anymore to the gym. Brilliant. Not that I did, but I'm trying. My point is going to be eggs. Alice and I love our eggs. We love them. And the problem is I'm seeing more and more egg white kind of replacing the yolk going on in your scrambled eggs in the morning. Fair enough, use egg whites. I mean, I do to top up your normal portion of eggs every day, but you do not need to take out the most nutritious part. Now, the fat misconception is massive when it comes to eggs. And I think even if you go over to the States or somewhere, you still find egg white omelets on the menu, and people look at it from a calorie and fat perspective. What they don't realise is it is a myth, which I think a lot of you probably know now, that cholesterol isn't actually affected in a negative way by eating eggs. So eggs raise the good cholesterol. Yeah, hallelujah. They raise the HDL, your high density lipoproteins, the things that you need in your diet to keep your heart ticking and healthy. Cholesterol is also a crucial component in our entire body, believe it or not, is made up of this structure. And people see cholesterol as a word as being bad for you, but eggs contain vitamin D. They're also one of the few sources that give you selenium, and Brazil nuts are another one. So think of all that nutrition in the yolk, and it tastes 10 times better. So my tip number 2 is going to be, even though you're looking at the calories or the fat, think about the nutrition of the item that you're actually having, how satisfied you're going to feel afterwards, and know that an egg yolk is not going to hinder any goal whatsoever you have. Bear in mind, I don't mean go and eat 20 of them.
Yeah, I think it's worth, as with anything, you know, with any food, everything is good for us in moderation. Exactly. Every food brings something to the body, you know, to a certain extent. Well, not every food, but a lot of the foods that both you and I eat, there's a reason why we eat them.
You can have them every day.
But, you know, having 20 is perhaps too excessive, but everything in moderation is absolutely fine. Definitely. And it's important to remember that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say if you're a female, maybe aim for no more than 3 a day, and a male, let's look at maybe 4 or 5. That's throwing that out there right now as a rough guide. Over to Anne.
Okay, thank you. So, I often get asked, and this is something that most of my clients will come to me and say, like, how much cardio should I be doing? Is cardio better for me than weight training for fat loss? And I'm particularly talking about fat loss here.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really, really important to remember that cardio creates, yes, it's going to improve your cardiovascular system. It's going to help improve your daily caloric burn. So it's going to contribute towards that when we're looking at that kind of in and out balance of calories in versus calories out. It's going to help to create a deficit if that's what you want to achieve. However, what I feel that if you're just going for a cardio workout, the potential to lose muscle and distinguishing between fat loss and muscle loss is really, really important.
Crucial.
And in my opinion, if you're doing, you know, just cardio training, there's the danger to lose muscle as well, which is then going to decrease your metabolism. Losing muscle will decrease your metabolism, and therefore you could be in a more difficult position to have a sustainable, achievable weight loss kind of goal.
Because the more muscle you have, the higher your metabolic rate. Yeah,
exactly.
The more you can
Exactly.
burn. Yeah.
So I'm not saying that cardio is the devil. Absolutely not. I think it's great, and like I said, it makes it, yeah, exactly, like any kind of exercise. I think it should be incorporated into your training, but not that it shouldn't. For me, it shouldn't be the be all and end all. I think it should be a third party. I would definitely advocate the benefits of weight training, improved bone density. You're going to have, you know, basically, you can't necessarily, I'm not saying you're going to create a physique by just magicking muscle up in places that you didn't have it, but it is great for improving body composition in general. So I'm going to be saying that very loosely, but it is great for improving body composition.
And as we age, we lose muscle anyway. I mean, from the age of maybe 25 onwards for someone, as a female, when your metabolism drops, we need to preserve our muscle mass.
Yeah, exactly.
As we age, sarcopenia hits in, we lose
But
it.
also, you know, female tendency to suffer from things like osteoporosis
Yeah.
is a lot higher. So for females, improving their bone density through weight training is a brilliant thing to do, and it's a really good thing no matter what age you are. So I have clients up to the age of, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s that are weight training, and I think it's great, and I think it's really important that we advocate it and don't see it as something that's just going to get you bulky, basically.
I mean, even get a tin of baked beans. Is that a really bad tip? Or something heavy at home that you can then do at home if you can't get to the gym?
There's so many ways that you can, you know, lift weights from home, like Marie said, using household items. You know, it doesn't have to be going to the weights and lifting, going to the gym and lifting dumbbells. There's a million ways you can do that, and obviously follow some of my videos and have a look on my Instagram for ideas of things to do for that. Marie.
Okay, so leading on from what Alice has just said, I think calories are a kind of a crucial thing that are very misunderstood. And I think we all need to be aware that calories were invented not that long ago to be used for measurements of things, and it's essentially how much energy is in an item to heat up some water. That's the whole sciencey thing. So if you were to put a Tic Tac in some water, that's only 2 calories, because there's only 2 amounts that you need to heat up the water. So putting the science aside, basically, this is why macro counting can be good for a short-term goal, but I would never ever advise doing something long-term. Now, all of your bodies, you're all probably working on different calculations, working out your BMI, working out your BMR even, the optimum fat burning zone. The problem with these calculations is that we're unique. Our sex differentiates us, our genetics make things difficult as well, hormonal fluctuations, our muscle mass, age, our fat,
daily activity levels.
So,
There's so many variables.
Too many variables to count calories and for it to be exact. So do not punish yourself, will be a tip in the new year for calorie counting, because guys, MyFitnessPal and other methods you use are never 100% accurate.
No.
So if I eat an apple that's, let's say, 50 calories, and Alice eats the same apple that's 50 calories, because Alice and I are different sizes, different body types, it will have a different effect in our body. Because we don't just have a flame inside us that just burns up 50 calories. Unfortunately, an apple for Alice might go and fuel her amazing muscles, but for me, it might go elsewhere. So you've got to look at things very differently, which is why I think macro counting can become dangerous, as can calorie counting. And the best way is to sometimes just look at portion sizes. So try and think more about the portion of the food you're eating rather than the numbers, because you'll miss out on a whole load of nutrition if you just go by numbers.
Absolutely. Good job, Rick.
Yes, thank you.
So, I'm moving on. This is one that I just want to throw out there. It comes up all the time with my clients, with general questions on my Instagram, and it's something that I think we're starting to dispel, but you still get the odd question saying, like, you know, I want to lose body fat, but I don't want to get bulky, and I want to weight train, but I don't want to get bulky. Women, ladies, girls, whatever, we do not produce enough testosterone to create that physique. I think it stems from the bodybuilding, female bodybuilders, and seeing that as kind of like, you know, they weight train, therefore that must be what happens when you lift weights. Absolutely not. Unless you are injecting yourself with testosterone, there is no way that you can produce enough of that to be able to create that physique. Lifting weights is a brilliant way of training. It has so many benefits to the body. Not only that, but it really helps to, like we just said, improve metabolism. So increase metabolism, improve your muscle mass, increase bone density. Like, it has multiple benefits. It shouldn't be seen as something that is only there to create a bulky physique. You know, I like it as well. I love the variety of it. It's no workout is ever the same. I like how you can be extremely goal orientated with your weight training as well. I love how it can be different for everybody. So some people like more functional weight training, some people like kind of a bodybuilding style split. There's so many different ways to do it, and I think it's really important to remember that it's not just, you know, getting on it. For me anyway, you know, from a personal point of view, I was one of those people that would get on a treadmill and stare at a wall and run for doing steady state cardio for 20 minutes and then do a couple of sit-ups and think that was my gym session. For me now, I'm so interested in what I'm doing at the gym. I'm so interested in how my body moves, what I do at the gym, how I have improved in strength, what I can achieve out of my body as well, how strong I've become. And I think that's a much greater indicator. So I think being fearful of lifting weights is a very old school concept, and I would really try and urge you to see past that and see the benefits of weight training and try and incorporate some of it. You know, I'm not asking you to go and you know, squat 50 kg, no way. But what I am saying is maybe try and read a bit around the subject. Start small, so don't like, you know, if you have no experience up to now, don't obviously go and do something that might potentially cause an injury. You know. We have to look at it as a potentially dangerous environment if you are loading the body with weight. However, there are ways of developing confidence in all of those major planes of movement. So looking at your basic squat, even just going from body weight, looking at a squat, some sort of a hip hinge, some sort of a press, and building confidence in those major planes of movement, which are then replicated with when you then add weight to the body. So if you can get confident in like just doing a body weight squat, something like a glute bridge or a hip hinge,
achievement. You feel amazing when you reach a goal.
And then slowly progressing. And you know, I know that it would be an expenditure to get a PT, but even just one session to be talked through the basics of weight training might help you to feel confident enough to then go and do that yourself. So
and you're not going to bulk. I mean, Alice is the perfect example. Alice is beautiful and petite, and she is not a massive muscle machine, although this girl is strong.
No, but I think it's really important that we still try and look past that myth and see that, you know, it does not equate to being bulky and basically extremely muscular. It just can't. It's not physically possible. So really, passing over.
Well, just to add on to that, the benefits of doing weights, I've noticed even carrying the shopping, guys. So
yeah, exactly.
This brings me on to my next point, which is dairy, because milk's heavy, when you've got those pints of milk, so we want to be weightlifting. But anyway, lots and lots of clients that I've had recently, I've noticed a massive increase in those giving up dairy. Now, first of all, there is nothing wrong with dairy products, depending on the source. Depending where you get them from. I mean, I know we love our cheese and our eggs and different things. Yeah. But there's actually now research, guys, that says that dairy milk and butter is good for you and prevents your risk of developing cardiovascular diseases. So before you exclude a whole food group from your diet because you think you may be intolerant or you think that it's affecting your digestion, you need to see a nutritionist or a professional of some sort. Definitely make sure they're qualified to ensure that they can go through this process correctly with you. Never just eliminate a whole food group from
Can
your
I
diet.
interject?
Yes.
I don't know if any of you guys saw the program on the BBC which looked at the home kit workouts, the home kits that are sent out to do intolerance testing, and how many of them were wildly inaccurate.
Awful.
It is so important that if you think you have an intolerance, if you think there is a digestive discomfort that's not quite right, that you don't just send off for a kit off the internet and think that that is that's going to be 100% correct and 100% accurate in order to cut out that food group.
The amount of tests that I've looked at, the people that come in with massive profiles that I can't eat this.
You must. It's so important to see someone that is qualified.
Because it could be other factors. It's not necessarily the dairy. Now, there is a massive rise in people that are lactose intolerant, but my advice would be to see someone, a professional, if you think that you are. I'm going to really emphasize that word think, because you may not be. It could be other factors which we would look at with you. Secondly, full fat dairy is the way to go. Full fat Greek yogurt, even organic whole milk, because the fats in the milk slow the release of the sugars, like the lactose, the natural intrinsic sugars in the milk. So having full fat dairy is fine, but always go for organic milk, guys. That's a good tip. And there's nothing wrong with some cheeses, especially the white cheeses, the good ones, the mozzarella and the feta. And enjoy butter
Love
in your cooking.
Love a bit of feta. Right, my last point. Second to last. So this is something that I think is really, really important to impress on you guys. It's kind of touching on what I spoke about before, but if you are not on the floor sweating at the end of your workout, that doesn't mean you didn't have a good training session.
Yay, that's me.
It is so important to remember that, we see people like CrossFitters and, different people online, especially with the rise of social media and people showing, their post-workout selfies and all that, and they're dripping with sweat and they're red in the face. That's amazing and that's great, but that doesn't necessarily equate to a good quality workout. And we are all so different. Things like sweat doesn't mean that you're working harder than the next person. If I'm sweating more than Reed, that has no reflection on whether I'm working harder than her. That can come down to a multitude of factors. But it's really important to remember that just because you're not lying on the floor absolutely spent at the end of your workout, that doesn't mean that you haven't had a good training session.
That's
And you shouldn't beat yourself up because you're not. I go to the gym and I train, I weight trained, for example, yesterday, so I did a leg session. I wasn't even sweating. Like, I'm not a sweaty person by nature. I'm working really hard. The intensity is high. My rest time is low. Therefore, my heart rate's slightly elevated. However, I wasn't dripping with sweat, and that is absolutely fine. And I think it's really important that we don't judge the quality of our workouts by whether we can not walk down the stairs at the end of our leg session. Like, it should not be about that, guys.
Not pushing your body to that extreme.
No, it's really and I think that is what the rise of social media has done to us, that we're constantly comparing our what we do to others, and seeing others perhaps posting selfies of themselves dripping in sweat, like I said, or the kind of tweets like, I can't even walk home because my legs are so tired after the gym. That's great, like, well done, if it, high five, but I don't think that is a great sign. I want to be able to walk home after
not
the gym.
Everyone needs to push
Yes,
themselves
muscle
to that
soreness
point.
is going to occur. Delayed onset muscle soreness, especially, maybe 1-2 days after your workout if you've trained really hard. But it's really important to not, judge the quality of your workout by whether you're sweating, whether you're not able to walk home, and all of these sorts of things. That's really important, and don't place judgment on yourself or be critical of yourself if you're not that person.
I think that's an excellent tip. That's made me feel a lot better, because sometimes I do go to the gym and I don't drip with sweat either, and I think, maybe I just can't push myself hard enough. My willpower.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Thanks, darling.
Last point,
Good
babe.
tip. So my last one, guys, is gluten-free. You have to be so careful with all of these gimmicks out there now, because people are out there to make money out of you, and there are products on the shop shelves labeled gluten-free which are probably actually more unhealthy than the original, because they've had to put other starches and compounds in to compensate for that protein, because gluten is a protein they've taken out of the product. So just because the label says gluten-free doesn't mean it's healthy. And I think a lot of people are scared now of gluten, and they don't need to be. You don't need to be, unless you are generally celiac or you've seen somebody and you have an insensitivity to gluten, because that can exist. Some people can be sensitive to it. of course they can, and also intolerances, but it's very rare. It's about 1% of the population that are actually celiac and suffer from this. So you need to be very, very careful. And big misconceptions are items like oats. Oats are actually naturally gluten-free. You can have oats if you are celiac. However, they need to be made in a factory that are not contaminated with other products of gluten, which is why you buy gluten-free oats as well. But sometimes you pay a lot more money for them.
It's crazy.
So
I feel
it's the money, isn't it?
It's part of me
Such trend.
despairs at the situation because it's become a marketing ploy, and they are able to whack extortionate prices on food simply for the fact that it is labelled with gluten-free. The other issue I have is when something is labelled gluten-free, it's therefore healthy. That for me is really, really quite concerning.
Think of the man-made manipulation that goes into that product.
The amount of times you'll go to a restaurant, for example, or you will go to something like a supermarket, and the gluten-free section is therefore deemed, healthy snacks.
Yes.
When actually 9 times out of 10 they've got more sugar in. They're full of more rubbish that's been added to that product in order to make it gluten-free. Gluten-free. I'm not saying that my cousin is celiac. Like, there are people out there who have genuine intolerances, and that's absolutely fine. But just because something is labelled gluten-free doesn't mean it's suddenly a free-for-all and you can eat as much of it as you want because it's apparently healthy.
But you're not the only ones to buy into this. I mean, I have a lot of, for instance, some footballers I work with. I went round their houses and removed a lot of gluten-free products from their cupboards because, again, they thought they were healthy. It's the perception. So don't blame yourselves. Just please read the label. And if you're not celiac, you're actually probably better off getting that normal biscuit rather than the gluten-free biscuit. Just throwing it out there.
Perfect. So that is up. No, are we finished?
Did you do it?
Yeah,
we're done.
We are finished. Thank you so much. And also, my dinner is in the oven and ready. It's probably burning by now. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope this was beneficial. We're going to do another talk very soon.
Yes.
So stay tuned for information about when that will be.
Yeah.
I hope you are all enjoying cooking something for my new book this evening, fingers crossed. And I really, really hope that you guys tune in again soon to see more from me and Ree. Have a lovely evening.
And Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. Lots of love from us. And see you soon. Bye.